technical foul. Oh, don't Larry. No. Please. Where are the assistant coaches?
Scott Christopherson will launch a three for the win. And he made it.
The chance for Iowa State to take the lead. And they do.
Blows right by him and stuffs it with the right hand. Hello.
The lob. Marking the finish.
At the end of the day, we all know it's a cyclone state.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Offensively Offensive. Wednesday, November 19th. It's almost Thanksgiving, which means it's almost feast week. I feel like we've gone away from that branding, but we should be getting back to it at some point. I'm Sean D alongside Nate Schuster, Tom Turner. Fellas, start or sit? Mashed potatoes or mac and cheese? Nate, go.
For Thanksgiving specifically? Okay, for Thanksgiving specifically, I'm starting mashed potatoes.
I'm in the same boat. Start mashed potatoes. It's tough to go against.
Damn, I thought
So it's a tough sit. It's a tough sit.
Yeah, 6-man energy. You know what I mean? Little Tyrese McGee off the bench.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
Curtis.
right. Well,
Yeah, like you don't like putting Curtis Jones on the bench, but you know it's
I'll raise you this: sweet potatoes or mac and cheese.
mac and cheese.
mac and cheese.
Also mac and cheese. So we found the line.
Stuffing
So
or no stuffing?
we're cutting sweet potatoes then.
Sweet potatoes are getting cut.
Yeah.
JV.
Also
it's
not a big stuffing guy. Not a big stuffing guy either, unfortunately.
I like it with gravy. I'm a stuffing
That's
guy.
earnest.
I'm like an everything guy though. I'll just put it in front of me. I'll eat it.
Fair enough. Well, let's get into it. We have some things to discuss and many things not to talk about. Your Iowa State Cyclones are 4-0. We have seen them play one actual basketball game and 3 tune-ups to the tune of all the way up to number 7 in KenPom, which is nice to see. 4th in defense, 23rd best offense. Fellas, what are your reactions to watching the first 4 games, and what are you surprised to have seen so far? Tom, let's start with you.
I'm gonna flip this back on you two, because I have this question of, besides the obvious everything hits for us and it's an amazing 4-0 start, is this like one of the best starts we could have wished for with this team?
I mean, yeah, everyone's healthy. Everyone's playing good. They're shooting the 3 well. Freshmen are playing good. The bigs look like they're all going to be impacts in some form or fashion. Pick your flavor. There'll probably be a different big that'll be good on a different night, just depending on matchup. How much last year was Gilbert picking up full court compared to Toure's picking up this early? Compared to Lipsy, because I think that's super underrated as we go throughout the year. Like Lipsy is usually the point of attack, right? Like that's your quote unquote, like your Drew Holiday type that's going to be in your face, 94 feet, Javon Carter. Toure's doing that as a freshman. Like, I think that's pretty underrated.
And he looks the part. Hey, he looks the part.
And he's not making the freshman mistakes that you'd expect a freshman to make. Like, and what's his measurables? Is he 6'4"? Is that his true size?
6'4".
Like,
yeah.
That's real. Yeah, 6'3", 205. Yeah. Like, he's gonna get bigger, he's gonna get stronger, he's gonna get better. Like, if he stays for 2 or 3 years, holy shit.
Yeah, and it's funny because we've got KenPom pulled up and just kind of browsing through some things. And I do like that he doesn't use traditional stats. So instead of points per game, you look at 2-point makes in attempts, 3-point makes in attempts, right? You're not really looking at anything other than some of the advanced analytics. So for steals and defense, instead of steals per game, you have steal percentage. And you look at Toure, and he's in the top 100 guys, or in the top 75 guys in all of college basketball for steal percentage, which you go, holy smokes, the guy's played 4 games total. And then your eyes move up to Lipsy, and he's in the top 15.
Yeah, we have 2 of them.
Yeah, so being able to spell Lipsy on the defensive end, I'm hoping, and I know exactly what you guys are thinking. Hopefully, it leads to long-term health for Lipsy, right? Let him focus on the offensive side of the floor a little bit more than we saw last year. And I think Lipsy even said after last game that was one of his goals, and one of the things that he was working on was trying to find his own shot. I think he did so to the tune of 25 points the other night. So clearly, something is working, and I think that we've done that without even seeing. Like Jefferson, I don't think played particularly great against Mississippi State, or at least it didn't appear to be the part. And so that's what's so encouraging about what we've seen so far is that we don't feel like we've had the finished product of everyone quite yet, but it's starting to trend in the right direction.
Taman's just doing so much on the court, and I have the numbers right here. It's 19 a game, 5.3 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 3.7 steals. With all that action, 3 total turnovers in the 4 games. Like, that's just what you want from your senior point guard. And you can tell, like, he's not a lazy point guard, but he gets a little bit of a breather with Torre in there. He can maybe guard the second best player on offense for a couple of possessions while Torre is on number 1. And you can just tell that helps him a lot on the floor. And it's just awesome to see from a true freshman.
It's going to make both of them better because, one, it's going to allow Taman to play more off ball. He's getting a lot better catch and shoot from 3. The development that he's done from 3 from his freshman year to now is remarkable. You got to commend him for that, which gives you hope for Toure too, because all right, we've already seen it once. Let's see it again. The other piece too, we beat Mississippi State fairly healthily. Didn't really feel like it was too much of a game, I thought. We shot 23% from 3. Last year, we probably lose that game. Against Big 12 SEC competition, we probably lose that game.
Agree completely. Made 5 threes. Yeah. No doubt. The shot quality has seemed to be better so far. I don't exactly know why to this point. I think some of it is a respect factor. I think Milan's got a little more gravity to him this year, right? Because I am a little bit tired of talking about how he needs to hum more shots, because that's been a storyline for 3 weeks already. Like, that narrative we've talked about, right? He's supposed to be looking for a shot, and he is, and he's doing a good job shooting 43% from 3 so far. So high marks to him. He was at 50 the other day when we checked, and guess what? I said that it would go down, and I was right. So I don't think you guys are giving me enough credit for using some mental math there. I'm just saying, I didn't hear any of you guys say, Sean, that was a really smart prediction. But here we are.
Genius.
Genius. Oh, let's play the stock game. Got that one right.
Yep.
1-for-1.
We're not doing that shit. We're not doing that again.
No. I think the only loser is anyone that had to listen to all that for as long as we try to prop that up.
Yeah.
The Deshaun Jackson over 0.5 threes was electric, though, every game.
That was fun. That was fun. Did he end up taking one?
I don't think so.
No, we just did 1 attempt. Just 1. The whole year.
You would have thought. All of this, I think, we have seen back to the actual basketball. I don't even think Heisey's played that well. I think, game 1 was maybe when he popped off for a bit there. But beyond that, I don't think that we have seen him in his final form too. Life feels so much easier when he's just the guy that's your 8th scorer. You know what I mean? Like, hey, go out there and create havoc on defense. And by the way, if you're open, make your corner threes.
It's been nothing special. The transfers have played well. You think off the top of your head, like, Heisey hasn't really stood out. I go check the box score against Mississippi State, clearly our best opponent. In 27 minutes, 8, 4, and 4. Like, that's pretty well. Like, I would like to get more from him, especially if Dominic Nelson's going to continue to not make any free throws. You expect Heisey's minutes to jump up a little bit, but 8, 4, and 4 against Mississippi State, and we were up by over 15 the entire game. Don't hate that.
Yeah, it's nice to have that. And he went 0 for 3 from 3, which is his specialty, and still scored 8 points. Like, if he makes 1 3, that's 11 points. If you're getting 8 to 11 points out of Heisey, probably going to win a lot of games.
All right, let's talk about Dominic Nelson for a second, because I do think Tom had a hot take, and I almost wanted to yell at you through Twitter about what you said, and then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was an adult, and I was like, we can at least talk about this. The other, do you know what I'm talking about? You tweeted about him last week, I think, and you said if Dominic Nelson doesn't start making more free throws, I think his playing time is going to go down. Something along those lines. Care to back up your point there?
I want to back it up in the aspect of he won't get closing minutes, so he loses that ability to play those minutes. Basically, kind of what I'm getting at, because Milan's probably our best free throw shooter, but then after that, it's like Torre, a true freshman who's gonna be fighting his butt off on defense. Like, he's gonna be tired, so like he is in there, but you don't want him shooting free throws late in the game. I don't personally. So who's going to be that guy with Taman, that's trying to get the ball in from Milan Jefferson, who's thrown in and bounced them. So to me, if he doesn't make these free throws, I think he's going to lose playing time to Heisey in that situation. I also like Heisey in those late game situations, knowing where he's supposed to be a little bit more as of now. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
I counterpoint to that. I don't think he needs to be out there late, regardless of his free throw attempts, if you ask me. I think Nate's nodding a little bit. I think if you had to guess, you're looking at the same screen I am. If you had to guess what his free throw percentage was last year, just hearing what we have about his jumper and what needs to be fixed, what would you have guessed versus what we actually are looking at on screen? Because it's much worse than I thought. Yeah.
I would think he's probably shooting sub 60% from free throws.
Oh no, I was going to say in the 70 percentages last year. He shot 69% on the year last year. That's with 230 attempts. Yeah, this year he's only shooting 55%. So for a guy that gets to the rim as much as he does, in fact, it looked like last year his free throw rate was in the top 25, meaning he got downhill almost as good as anyone else in the country, and only converted 70% of the time.
I think that's the problem, is he's such a good driver. He's so good at getting to the rim under control. We saw some crazy and one finishes, and then it's just, here's going to the free throw line. One extra point, not even close.
I said something in the group chat the other day, and I said even his makes look bad.
There's an old Celtics scout, Kevin Eastman. I don't know if I've told you guys this story on this pod, but he judged shooters by their misses. Like, if the makes look bad, imagine how bad the misses look. Like, oof.
Kevin Eastman, that's a Des Moines guy, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I know of him.
08 Celtics, he was one of Doc's assistants.
How do you know him?
He came to practice a couple times. That's what he shared. He was like, you guys gotta do all this stuff. But yeah, that's what I took from it.
Tom, what else are we missing before we jump into players era? What did you think of 3 cakewalks and one meaty Mississippi State team?
I don't want to say loved, but I liked all 4 games, how everything kind of worked out. Against Stonehill, I expected the slow start, kind of sandwiched between Mississippi State and St. John's. You had like a week off. Makes a lot of sense. Slow start. They picked it right back up. No worries. Torre is, I think, not just like my big takeaway, but a lot of people's. First game of the season was solid. He had just 1 turnover, which I like. He's going to be a little careful. And then game 2, he had 4 turnovers against Mississippi State, 0. And this last game, I believe he had 3 or 4, which I'm perfectly fine with. Mississippi State, he dealt with 2 fouls kind of early in that game, but also he's focused on defense. And the no turnovers kind of speaks that I think he's kind of less afraid and just more trying to stay in his role in that big moment, which I want him to change later in the season, but I'm perfectly fine with that right now. But the 4 turnovers against whoever we played, I think Grambling State our second game, and then Stonehill, I'm perfectly fine with that. He's taking chances. He's attacking against these lower tier teams. 4 turnovers against Stonehill is not going to kill us. I'm totally fine with that. He's going to learn. They can go through the tape. Him with the coaching staff kind of talk through those mistakes. I'm perfectly fine with him having those turnovers and learning from them. But yeah, my biggest takeaway is Torre and how great he's looked.
Yeah, I also want to help back up Tom's theory from earlier on the losing minutes. I do actually think that's a reality because of how good Bateman looks. That's another one of my takeaways is he's gonna be a Matt Thomas level shooter in Ames, I think, or something, some shooter to that regard. Whether you want it to be, Deontay Garrett, Tyrese McGee, Curtis Jones, but he's got that in him. But yeah, I think, if he can make his free throws and get downhill, and Nelson's not making free throws, down in the clutch, if Lipsy or Touré's out of the game with 5 fouls, I'd probably rather have Bateman out there.
You mentioned that scout judging on the misses more than the makes. Bateman went 1 for 4 from deep against Stonehill, but the 3 misses, they looked on. They didn't look awful.
Yeah,
so.
They'll fall with time, but yeah, I think in really it's just the freshmen like Touré. They're going to be rusty. They're going to adjust the speed. If they're making those mistakes, those mistakes that you're talking about with these turnovers, if they're making them in January, then we have a problem. But right now, make all the mistakes you want. It's non-conference. It's what it's for.
Exactly.
I will say the counterpoint, because we talked about this, we all agree with each other way too often. So I feel like I'm just going to start arbitrarily taking different sides. So this is more interesting. So here's my best bet. Nothing wrong with what Bateman's doing offensively. I think defensively, we're still working things out. He looks a little bit discombobulated at times. I don't think he's bad by any means. We've seen some examples of that, especially in this system. I also think it requires a level of detail that's extremely difficult to adjust to, right? So Torrey in particular, he's been most impressive on ball, right? Bateman's got to do a lot of that off ball because he's never going to be covering the 1 or the 2, basically, right? Lipsy, Nelson, or Torrey are always going to take that 1-2 spot in some capacity. So he's going to be stuck guarding a wing, and he's going to be in charge of help, which I think is much more difficult than you are playing on-ball defense. So I think he's going to stick out probably more because it's going to look worse.
Yeah, the closeouts are going to be a difficult. It's never a fun thing if you're closing out to any sort of college level wing. If they're good, they're going to kill you if you're late. They're going to spray it in your face if you don't get high enough, or they're going to blow right past you if you get too close. It'll look rough for him. I agree.
I do not envy that.
It's not fun.
Nate, I do have a question for you before we jump to Players Era. Would you have thrown a punch on behalf of Jefferson if you were in your walk-on spot when that Stonehill guy took him down?
I probably would have said some things, but I'm a pussy.
I turned it off right after a few minutes after that, right? Because that happened with 5 minutes to go or whatever it was. I didn't that lead into the TV timeout for the under 4? It might have. I watched that play and I started dying laughing because I'm like, what an Iowa State thing to happen for this. This Stonehill guy is having the worst night of his life trying to guard whoever gets put in front of him. Jefferson's got a breakaway and he's like, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. Let me just hard foul him and see what happens. Grabs him a little bit too hard, takes him down, and then realizes, oh God, this guy is quite a bit bigger than I am. And so who was it that we were talking about that stepped in front? Torrey steps in front of Jefferson and prevents him from ending the kid's life. It was very funny. That poor guy probably is going to laugh at that 20 years later. He's going to be like, see, kids, this is what your dad used to be like. And then he's going to cut it right after the play is done so he doesn't see someone stepping in front of Jefferson.
We've been high on Torrey all season. Is this the part? Do we want to go on the other side? He was acting mature. Do we kind of want him to fight back? And it was kind of soft to walk Jefferson away. He could have got up in the guy's face a little bit.
Does Torrey not have enough fight in him? Next up,
is Torrey soft? This my column.
It's our French people pacifists. I'm just kidding. That's terrible.
That's all right. Okay, I think that covers our abysmal schedule that we've been talking through recently. So let's shift gears and talk about the Players Era. It's not even tournament; it's a festival, right? Like we're not even calling it a tournament. Players Era Men's Championship. Sorry, I thought it was a festival for a while. It's not a music thing. Although anything goes in Vegas, who knows? So interesting layout and formatting that I will let Tom walk through, as he so poignantly did this morning.
Yeah, so shout out Sean for the screen share. This is huge. But for the first kind of matchups, Sean and I discussed earlier today, I think Iowa State and St. John's is the best matchup out there. Gonzaga, Alabama is two different complete styles that could go either way. The three-point shooting against the 30-year-olds, you really don't know. Creighton and Baylor is fun. We still don't really know a lot about Baylor. And like Tennessee, Rutgers is fine. Oregon, Auburn would be fun. I think that's going to be very fast paced. But yeah, I think it's St. John's, Iowa State pretty clearly. What about you guys?
Selfishly, I would say that's the best game. Gonzaga, Alabama, I think will be fun. That game will probably be 110 to 111, and then go to overtime. But yeah, I like the 24th games a little bit better. The 25th, I'm not. I mean, Michigan Auburn will be okay, but I think it'll end up being a letdown.
Yeah, San Diego State lost to Troy at home yesterday, so them and Oregon. Maryland, their center Payne, who transferred with Buzz Williams from A&M, he's out for a little bit, so they're kind of weak down low against Gonzaga. That's not who you want to be weak down low against. Houston, Tennessee will be fun. First one to 35 will win that game. And then also that Baylor's the question mark kind of in this whole event because we really don't know a lot from them. And then Iowa State Creighton will be fun. I think we're going to see a very different Creighton team than we saw in the scrimmage from watching their past couple games. And I think we'll see Iowa State defend them a little bit differently too.
So let's talk for a second about how this works. Iowa State is guaranteed 3 games. The first game is against St. John's on Monday at what is that? It's 3:30 Central. And then the next day on the 25th, Tuesday, we play at 4 Central?
1, I believe.
1 Central. Excuse me, I can't even read my own screen. Against Creighton. So a rematch of the exhibition game where Iowa State got its cheeks handed to them. And then there is a championship game and a third place game that is determined by a combination of factors. Number one is record of your first 2 games. So basically you have to go 2-0 in your first 2 to end up in one of those top 2 games. And then after that, things get a little bit funky because you're looking at points scored, points against, and then point differential as like a very fantasy football level tiebreaker. Such like surely we could come up with something better or even put together a bracket. But something tells me it's leaving the door open for like someone blows out this team and that team, and then they have to play against each other. I don't know. As opposed to someone being upset, I think it's a little bit wonky, but also they're playing for a pretty decent NIL cash prize. Am I wrong? $1 million? Is that right?
I think it's $2 million.
$2 million
each.
The $2 million for the winner, for the winning team.
Total. Nate's like, I have 1 more year of eligibility.
Sign me up. Shit, that'd be great. This seems weird. I don't know if I like compared to the Maui or the Atlantis. I don't know if I like where Feast Week's going.
They did this the right way last year when Creighton was in it. There was probably 6 teams instead of this many teams. There were 6 teams. It was a lot more easier to format. It was the record and then point differential. I don't think they had any of the other rules. Creighton went 0-2, so they were kind of out of it immediately. But
you need an extra round.
By those like rules, if you look at Kansas, I know Peterson is out and he probably won't play in this, but they'll still beat Notre Dame and they will beat Syracuse. So that's interesting. If Iowa State could somehow beat St. John's and Creighton, maybe we face Kansas in the non-con.
Yeah, who's got the toughest sled here? Just eyeballing these first 2 games. Rutgers has Tennessee, Notre Dame. Iowa State's got St. John's and Creighton.
I think it's Baylor has the toughest, I would say. But again, like we don't know a ton about them. They beat Washington at home. Washington's okay. They're missing a couple guys. But like Baylor's got Creighton and then St. John's. Like you're playing St. John's on a back-to-back. And so who knows?
I would argue Iowa State has. I think Iowa State might have the toughest too. I'm not losing sleep if you disagree, but I don't think it's gonna be easy. I think Rutgers is sneaky bad based on what I'm seeing, so I don't think that's great. Michigan almost lost to TCU, who is terrible. That TCU team lost to New Orleans as a bye game, I think last week or the week prior. Like, Jamie Dixon. Can we talk about this for a second? I don't know who you go and get for that program if you decide to fire him.
Isn't he from TCU? I think that's the problem.
Yes, so he's an alum
from the university and
he played there. Yeah,
yeah. So you're not gonna get like whoever you think you're getting. You're not, because that fan support is bad.
Negative.
You just wait until Desmond Bain retires, and then you get him as the head coach.
That will be in 10 to 15 years.
Probably the best guy they could get.
How the hell? Think about that. We got to give Jamie Dixon his flowers. How the hell did he get Desmond Bain to sign up for that school?
Yeah, because Desmond Bain was like the 2-3 years they made the tournament too. It wasn't like, hey, look what we're doing. We're cooking right now. Come on over.
Yeah, like TCU's like not bad.
Kendrick Williams too. They two legit NBA guys. I mean, that come out of the program in the last 8 years.
Crazy.
If you just want to go and shoot a ton of twos and be terrible at shooting threes, TCU is the school for you. I don't know how it happens every year, but it's the truth. I'm pretty sure I looked at it last time we were on the we were chatting about this. But anyways, players era. So what is the most? Who do you want Iowa State to play? Like results of the first two games aside, what's the most intriguing third game based on the list? And I'll read off a couple of them. You got Rutgers, you got Tennessee, you got Baylor, Kansas, Notre Dame, Houston, Syracuse, Auburn, Oregon, Gonzaga, Alabama, Michigan, San Diego State, and then UNLV and Maryland.
Bama.
I think I go Bama or Gonzaga maybe. I don't know. Oregon. Yeah, I think I'd go Zags or Bama. For me, just real quick, I love facing multiple playing styles before we get to the conference because that helps us out way more in the NCAA tournament. Face all these different styles of basketball. You're prepared for when you face that mid-major who shoots like 43s a game. Hey, we play Bama. We're a little bit prepared for that.
Yeah, at Bama's best in terms of contrasting styles. Yeah, Bama or Gonzaga. I don't want to. Actually, Tennessee would be fun too. I think that would be fun. I don't want to see anyone
watch that. I don't want to watch that game though.
Would you rather play Houston? I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I guess it'd look nicer.
I don't want to play Houston. I don't want to see another Big 12 team. Like I don't want Kansas. I want.
Could you imagine if we had to play Houston?
Yeah, I don't want that.
In the third place game.
So
even worse.
And that could be like the third day in a row we play, or like the third game in 4 days if we're lucky, and then just playing like Houston on a short rest early in the season.
Yeah, it'd be bad. I think the one thing I don't know about is so the consolation games are Wednesday and Thursday, but I don't think they're determined because we don't know who is playing when. So like the slots are not yet available. So like we don't know. There's no loser of this game plays winner of that game, loser of that game plays winner of that game. Like it's just you either play on Wednesday or you play on Thursday, and there's no time, so you don't know who it is. So talk about a tournament that's not very fan friendly. Like, hey, you have to buy a hotel, but it's either this night or it's this night. Sorry.
The only like thing for the fans is it's on TNT, so you're gonna get a good basketball broadcast. You're gonna have good announcers.
That's true.
That ticket is gonna be so stupid on the 27th. Like, scroll down there. The championship game is the 26th. They've already determined that it's the 26th. Right. So you're going to expect people to stay and buy concessions and do all the things the 27th for a bunch of consolation games that more or less don't matter. Like the average
I
fan,
don't know.
like the average, like if my team played in the championship game, I'm not staying after. I'm not staying for the 27th. I mean, if I played the third place game, I'm not staying after. It's not like March Madness where you want to stay and watch the games. Like this isn't going to be that.
What if it's Syracuse UNLV championship? Does that move you anymore? No.
I mean, it'd be cool that UNLV's in their hometown, I guess, but I don't know. Like,
Do we think something tells me it's not exactly going to move the needle? Like Iowa State fans go down to Kansas City or something like that, you know?
this feels really artificial flavoring compared to like the all natural Maui or Atlantis. Like even the Worldwide Sports Invitational is a little bit feels nicer than this.
Did you play in that? Were you part of
No,
those?
but I just think it's a funny one to say.
The mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about game specifics real quick. Tom, Creighton or St. John's first?
I think we got to go with the Johnnies. Game 1.
Go for it. Lead us in.
They're probably going to be pissed off a little bit from the Bama game. I'm going to be honest. I watched some of that game, and then I went through and watched most of the second half. They didn't get really pushed around by Bama because we know what Bama does. They shoot the lights out, and that's kind of what they did. St. John's tried to play that game with Alabama, and it didn't work. And now they go back to their style that's similar to Iowa State's. And how is that going to work? They got some older guys, edge of 4, who's averaging 18 a game. A familiar face, Dylan Mitchell from Texas back when they were in the Big 12 in Cincinnati. And Bryce Hopkins from Providence, who's finally a little bit healthy. I wouldn't say 100%, but one last point from my side is their average height of their starting lineup, going from the lineup they had against Alabama, is 6'7". So it's going to be physical. I think they're more physical than us as of right now, and it's going to be a really fun game. And if you have somewhat been lost from college basketball from the past year, Rick Pitino is their head coach. So he's going to be fiery on the sidelines at, 3:30 p.m. on a Monday.
I think one thing that gives me a little bit of hope against a team like this is that I think we match up well with a larger power forward type, right? Like we can throw Jefferson on him to at least be a body. And then the way that we play defense, I think, is going to be helpful, right? Trapping no middle, we've seen some success there. My question is not about a Geofor because he's obviously a dog. Like I would expect him to do whatever he wants for the most part. If we can slow him down a little bit, that's fine. But it's everyone else, right? Like what are we getting from Ian Jackson and Bryce Hopkins? Can Iowa State's guards stay in front? I think we can, but I think it's going to be a difficult game, right? Like this is a team that was extremely physical last year. We're very, very good. Lost to Arkansas, obviously, in the NCAA tournament and a bit of a shocker, but replaced pretty much everyone, like for the most part. Like brought in some transfers, as you said. I think it's a good contrast in styles too. They're playing click right now. I'm wondering though if these numbers are inflated as a result of playing against Bama. But actually, I'm looking at what they're doing. They're getting up and down, 84 possessions against Quinnipiac and 80 against Bill and Mary. Like, they want to run. So I think it'll be a fun game at the very least.
I think it's interesting to see their 3-point numbers with how fast they're playing. Like, they're playing really fast, but it looks like they're really effective on getting to the basket more than shooting threes. I think that plays well for Iowa State. Hopefully, like we're hyping up these guards saying that we're playing good turnover ball. Hopefully we don't make a lot of live ball turnovers against this team because if they're trying to get up and down, like they will get dunks on us in transition. It's a lot easier to get that than in the half court. So I think that's where the game's going to be won and lost, live ball turnovers, 3-point shooting.
And there's a little narrative storyline going into this game too, real quick. Pitino said before the season started that the true point guard is kind of dead in the sport. Tame Lipsey, 4 games in, probably off to his best start in his career as a true point guard. St. John's doesn't have a true point guard on their roster. A little bit of a narrative going into the game.
I like it. KenPom says Iowa State by 3. So it'll be tight, I would expect, either way. I think my mark is going to be how does Iowa State shoot the ball in a foreign environment, right? Like, can we get to 7 threes? Because if we do, I like our chances. That's probably going to be the mark for most of the year. If we can get to 8 or 9, I think that we would be close to one of the better teams in the country. Is that crazy to say, right? Like if you're shooting the ball that well, because our rim rate's pretty good. I think I'm excited, right? We don't know enough about this team to this point. Like, we've seen what we've seen, but continuing to get them tested is always good. I agree with the decision to be part of this tournament. Of course, the money's great. Anytime you can throw a tough non-conference out, especially in the Big 12, go for it, because you're going to have chances for quad 1 wins down the road.
It's almost easier that we're playing non-conference in the Big 12 at this point after the last half decade of Big 12 bashes that we go through from January to March. Like, I'll take this.
I think the kind of key to this game is the shooting guard, the 2 position for Iowa State. Who's it going to be? Is it Heisey making threes, Dominic Nelson finishing at the rim and finishing at the free throw line? Is it Torre not acting like a freshman out there, being physical, not fouling, staying in front, but also helping out a little bit on the offensive end? Because I don't think Milan is going to be big in this game. You're going to see a lot of Dylan Mitchell on him probably. He's a great defender. Milan can get a shot off against anybody. I'm not saying that, but he's going to have his work cut out for him on both ends of the floor. He's going to have to rebound against this St. John's team. That's the big thing. Every day that's gone by, we've said on the pod too. Well, I've said at least every day that's gone by, I think we have a better shot at being St. John's. It's just no live ball turnovers, and you have to rebound against them.
Well said. Iowa State's next opponent is the Creighton Blue Jays, which if only we had someone that could talk about Creighton at length. But we can talk about them in the next podcast while I find someone. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Okay, just kidding. Tom, just
you should have ended it.
Yeah, I could have.
You should have just ended it right there.
That would have been pretty funny. So, Tom, we talk about Creighton. We got the Creighton minute. I think now we've got the Creighton 5 minutes. So go ahead, buddy.
This is not the Creighton team we played in the scrimmage. Obviously, the scrimmage did not tell everything of either team. You weren't going to see how exactly they played, rotations, minutes, everything. Owen Freeman is starting for Creighton. They're playing right now. They start at 7 o'clock. We're recording this on Wednesday night, right around that 7 o'clock time frame. Owen Freeman is not 100%. He was struggling finishing against the lower tier teams. He was like 1 for 6 in the first half. Really struggling on drop defense against other guards. And then the just rotations as entirely as a team, like they just look off. They got destroyed by Gonzaga. They hung around in the first half, and it just those grown men on the West Coast just brought it to him. Example, Owen Freeman. And I'm not just saying this because he went to Iowa, but they put all their post eggs in his basket, and it is not paying off right now. We have a true freshman. He's getting a little bit of a workload. He's getting a little bit more after the Gonzaga game. I think that's a little telling of how they kind of see Freeman now. But if Freeman isn't on the court, they go with a small 5 of Isaiah Trout and then Jason Green, which Trout can shoot the ball very well from the corner. Anywhere else, it's a little iffy. Jason Green, very athletic, kind of a Dustin Hogue-esque, I would say, with about the same jump shot. He's just very physical. He's going to get after it, going to get those loose ball, tough guy. But at the end of the day, it's going to be how can we handle their guards. We remember what happened. We got off to an okay start, and Creighton kind of started to hit the 3 ball. Austin Swartz, the transfer from Miami, hit about 4 in that scrimmage. He's averaging 16 minutes a game and has combined for 8 points in the 3 games he's played. So he is not exactly getting the workload that we saw in the scrimmage. Those shots aren't exactly falling. So I do think, obviously, the scrimmage is a scrimmage, but it doesn't really tell how it works. I think our defense will be a lot better on Graves, who has looked terrific, the transfer from Charlotte. Blake Harper, who's looked solid. And then Josh Dix, who's kind of struggled getting it going. the confidence doesn't really look there. I do think it's early. Like, he is a transfer, like a lot of people. They're still working and trying to see who's the alpha. I think he's the alpha on this team. But, yeah, I mean, just the overlook as his team, Owen Freeman, he's coming back from that injury. And I think if we are physical with him down low and we force them to go small, then that's right where we want them, because once they go small, their offense is not the best, especially kind of the motion, quick-paced offense that they run, and that's what you want with Creighton. You want them not to be 100% on offense, and I think that's where we could kind of get them.
Jackson McAndrew makes me laugh because it sounds like a third grader went into class for like Irish American History Day, and he's like, "What's my Irish name?" And they're like, "Jackson McAndrew," and he's like, "Yes." That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a lazy teacher adding on an Irish thing to someone's kid's normal name.
McAndrew didn't play in the scrimmage, and the best way to compare him is just a Milan with a quicker release. That's kind of how they view him as well. He's going to shoot most of his shots from deep. Not the most physical guy out there, but kind of takes care of the ball pretty well, and probably is the best shooter, I would say, for Creighton.
It's interesting how often those scrimmages are completely different than how they would play out in reality. Like, the good teams I was on, we would get blown out in the scrimmage, and then we'd play really good. The bad teams I was on, we'd play really good in the scrimmage, and we'd suck all year. Like, it's all over the place. It's like, it's funny.
And from the professionals on Twitter, there's a lot of discourse about the offense. And so far in the 4 actual games that have mattered, the offenses look pretty good.
Yeah. This is a way better matchup than St. John's for us, I think. And we've already seen what Dix and Freeman have been against in Iowa State defense. And I think this team is probably better than teams they've seen in the past.
Speaking of, are we taking a look at what's happening out east in our state?
No.
Monitoring the situation.
Xavier's
situation.
No. They have a stretch against Ole Miss, Michigan State, and Maryland. Get back to me after that.
Okay. We're just monitoring. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing right now, which we have seen other teams in the past not do that. So I'm just saying, I like the way that they play. They run some good stuff. We're monitoring. We're monitoring. Okay. All right. I have nothing to add about Creighton because I don't know how you could add on to what Tom was saying after all of that. That was very, very well done. So, final thoughts on Players Era as a whole. Anyone have anything else to share? What's the game that you're most excited for otherwise? Or what's the best potential matchup that we could see that doesn't involve Iowa State of any combination of these teams?
Houston, Alabama. I think that's a pretty fun matchup. Like, I would like to see Houston be that physical when Alabama's taking 6 seconds on the offensive end.
Yeah, that'd be a fun contrasting styles matchup. Tennessee Houston would be a fun, like, how low can we get this score? But we're already getting that one.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see that one. That'll be fun. Yeah, Alabama Houston. I think, what is it about college basketball and contrasting styles that just seems so romantic? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Especially
when you're putting together your bracket, you're like, oh, this game's either going to be 100 possessions or it's going to be 50. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, old school Virginia versus current NATO's Bama.
Yeah, right. I have one. Anything else on Players Era as a whole?
I think it needs one more round. I think if they did one more round, I'd like it a lot more before the championship. Make it 4 games.
This opinion's not because I'm not able to watch, but I wish Iowa State St. John's was at like 6:30, 7:30. I wish it was a little more prime time. I think we kind of all agree that's one of the best games. 3:30 on a Monday. I understand it's feast week, but feels like we could have slotted that in a little better.
There are games. The UNLV Maryland game is going to tip off at midnight Eastern. Midnight Eastern on Monday night. And then UNLV again plays at midnight the next night against Alabama, which is hilarious. because they have to go for so long. Like they have games that start at 1 Eastern and that end at 12 a.m.
Vegas is going to be absolutely insane because they just had Monday Night Football. They have F1 this weekend. They have practice. It's on the Strip, so they have to shut down the Strip, and then Monday you have this.
Something tells me that this tournament might drive the most people to town.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm kidding. It should be a ton of fun. I'm excited to watch either way. Monday, Tuesday is tough. I do wish it was later, but you know what? We're not going to bash having some meaningful non-conference basketball. Hashtag manipulating the net.
What do we think our record is coming out of this tournament?
I think we go 2-1.
I would agree.
I'm going to say 3-0, depending on who we get. I'm not sure. I feel like we'll get screwed on point differential out of the 2-0s, and we'll get somebody random for the third game, but I think we'll go 3-0.
Now that we floated it out there, I kind of think we play Houston. I don't know how it's going to work, but yeah, no, that's it.
Is there precedent for that?
Is when that comes out.
No, because think about how we played Colorado 3 times last year. So like we have an example right off the bat like that.
Okay, so yeah, so they wouldn't count for one of the 18 conference games or whatever. So
yeah.
Okay,
no, but it would be funny though if we got Houston and then we played them twice this year, right?
I think we only play them once.
Do we play them once?
I'm not sure.
I should know this. But anyways, it would be funny if we accidentally played a team 4 times and then obviously picked them up in the Big 12 tournament. I wonder if there's precedent for someone playing 5 times because then you see someone in the NCAA tournament.
That would be 4. There we go.
That would be something. That'd be a good trivia question. But I think it'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I have one closing thought for you guys, and we're quick switch to football. This quote was from Campbell this week talking about Kansas, and I was thinking about coach speak and how I have to listen on Sundays to Mike Tomlin say nothing at all times. He's never said a meaningful word ever in his life. And on Saturdays, I listen to the same guy say nothing about his football team. And I don't know how I got so blessed to have 2 coaches whom I love and adore that don't say a single thing about anyone. This is what Campbell said about Kansas football starting this week. He said, by position group, I think Kansas might be the most talented team in this conference.
This is complete silence because.
Yeah, no.
And listen, I get it. You can't sit here and be like, they stink. We think they stink. Like I get it. I'm not saying that.
You can't say that though.
Why don't you just be more honest? Like, why do these guys refuse to tell the truth about anything?
Nate, you're the bulletin board material.
Sure, but
childish though.
But you know what I mean? Like, Prom at no point, to you guys was like, all right, guys, like, we know they're good. They know they're good. Or like, come on, guys, we know they stink. They know they stink.
Certain games, you knew they sucked. Like, if you're playing against, Sisters of the Poor and Blind, like, the coaches be like, all right, we better fucking win this game. Like, there's a difference between Kansas and Long Beach.
Right. It boggles my mind why you don't have a little bit more like, hey, we think they're good. They're going to present some issues for us in different areas. But then when you speak in the hyperbole about how you think someone is as best as, or they're as bad as, or we think they do as good a job as, like, that's when I think it gets ridiculous. Like, I feel like you could say the right thing without sounding like you're trying to hype your team up to play Georgia this week.
If you're comparing to someone in that way too, like, you're already wrong. Like, they're never truly as good as that guy. If you know what I mean? Like, they're never actually that. It's just, yeah.
Anyways, I wanted to bring this to you guys to hopefully have it steer and shed some light on you for the rest of this week and talk about how we were playing against the 72 Dolphins on Saturday. So very exciting.
Start off with a dub there, and then we go to Players Era.
That's right. We're a basketball podcast. That's what we do best. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back probably post-Thanksgiving, break everything down, what we learned. Hopefully we have a couple more W's to discuss. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Take care.